Is you can't take the same approach to the same issue always, because sometimes, even though it's the exact same issue, the people in the organization are different enough that you really have to take a different approach. And starting to learn that there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach to things was pretty helpful. I mean, there's definitely common things that I like to do when I typically do them, but every once in a while I'll be like, oh, this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to try a different thing here because of the situation I'm in.
So from time to time, Jenny, you were involved in, how would I say this, somewhat weird one-off type of engagements too, where people sought us out for expertise because we had sort of a neutral stance on things like life cycle models and things like that. I'm referring. I have an example I was going to share here because it came in from Steve M. You did work with this particular company back in 2007, and they wanted something called an Agile type guide that they needed to create. And it was a process document that would let them enable Agile software development within the existing waterfall processes that they had at the time. So there were things like set stage gates and checkpoints that people were adamant that they had to keep in terms of the organization, yep. Right? So how, in a sense, how do you enable Agile in that environment and still follow what the PMO or process gods had determined was the proper way to develop things, right? And so this person is, Steve is saying that you were incredible with helping you get through the checkpoint materials and the requested activities, craft a process guide that many of the checkpoints at certain places that enabled the Agile practices in the middle to finally run properly. And that's a kind of a good one, right? It's a good example because I think that's the kind of thing that, like, we perhaps would create a template for that, but maybe we'd never see that particular engagement again. But it was something that was super valuable to this organization that ended up being a valuable partner with us over time.
Yeah. And that was actually interesting because that was very much of one of those engagements where we were working hand in glove with somebody else. They didn't come to us and say, build us an Agile type guide and send it back to us. We were very much interactive. Let's go through the materials that you have. Let's build this with you, right? We'll build parts, you'll build parts, we'll review parts. But yeah, I mean, I think we always said as long as we really believed we could successfully help the organization accomplish what they wanted to do, we would build a custom engagement. And I know, Steve, you've done a ton. Earl, you've done a ton. Right. It's really about, what deliverable do you want to accomplish? What approaches are we going to use to get to that deliverable? When we define all of that, do we think we can be successful?
Yep.
If so,
yeah,
go. If no, say, we appreciate you thinking about us, but we don't think we're a good fit in this case.
Of course, all the consulting stuff took you on the road.